soul of the city.
What is going on, St. Louis City fans and MLS fanatics? Welcome back to another episode of Soul of the City, brought to you by First Touch Media. Today I'm joined by Jonah. I'm glad to finally have somebody else sit in this seat for once. It's been lonesome with just me and Ian here on all these episodes. So glad to have you back.
Yes, thank you. It's nice being back.
Yeah, man. I'm sure we're just going to throw it all out there, put it all on the line. Obviously, if you're listening to this episode, news today broke that Bradley Carnell is no longer the head coach of St. Louis City. Gigliani and co, a.k.a. Lutz, decided that it was his time, man, and Ian and I kind of brushed on it briefly, the Carnell out movement that had been growing prior to even the Atlanta game. I mean, it had been around for quite some time, probably since the start of the year, I would say. There's been wavering support for Carnell.
Yeah, I think after what happened in the playoffs last year is what triggered some fans, maybe the more reactionary fans. But, yeah, I mean, this year we only have 3 wins out of 20 games, 10 draws. So, obviously, we've been hit with injuries. So, I feel like a lot of the fans, at least that I saw online, were kind of surprised that it happened, at this point in the season. But it does kind of make sense. I mean, we're not winning games. Sam and AZ seem to be on the outs. And, it wasn't necessarily performance-wise. I mean, everyone was kind of playing bad. And it was kind of rumored that they had some disagreements with Carnell. And I guess maybe more of the locker room than just those two guys kind of felt the same way. So
yeah, it seemed like a very popular thesis on the internet that Carnell had lost the locker room. And I mean, at that rate, like, what else can you do, really? The team is in a horrible position playoff-wise. And today, in a presser with Gigliani and Lutz, they straight up were like, it's our goal to make it to the playoffs this year. It was our goal. We're currently not achieving it, and this was the step that we felt necessary to take. And, the arguments against it are always going to be Lutz didn't spend enough in the winter to replace Gioacchini and Stroud. The injuries that plagued us this season. Those are always going to be the arguments against it. But, I mean, honestly, this team has not looked the same since Leagues Cup last year. I think there was a statistic like 40 games, 8 wins out of those 40 or something like that post-Leagues Cup. So it's been abysmal for St. Louis City. And, I mean, I can't say I'm too upset just because it shows that the front office has priorities, and the priority is to fucking win games.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of shifting. Like, you don't really know what the second half of the season is going to bring, but I mean, obviously the front office or the back office thinks anything's better than this, right? I mean, a change needed to be made, and the saying is you can't fire the whole team. So
you sure cannot fire the whole team.
Yeah, so I mean, it's either the quickest thing to do if you're looking for quick change is fire the coach.
Yep.
We'll see if it works.
We'll see. And you know what? This upcoming we can touch on what's coming next. Honestly, we could sit here and talk for a little bit about the past 2 results. Obviously, we haven't done an episode in about 2 weeks now. So we missed the Atlanta game. That was a 1-1 draw at home. It was exciting to see some City 2 players play in that game. Obviously, Jay Reed got his first team appearance, which was really exciting. I was excited by him, and honestly, he was on the bench for this recent Vancouver game. I was hoping he would get the start.
I saw a theory why he didn't is because we want to use his second game of eligibility with more of like a seasoned back line to really, be able to see if he fits well with the first team. And if we had played him against Vancouver with Jake Nerwinski and Mark Hannick center backs, we probably wouldn't have been able to take anything away from that.
No, definitely not. Yeah, so he put on a great performance against Atlanta. I was very happy by him. He was the standout. And then Michael Wenzel played center back in that game. That was his 4th I guess, call-up, fourth time on the bench, so he's no longer eligible for any of the short-term loans for St. Louis City for the rest of the season. So the only way we'll see him on the first team is via a first-team contract.
Yeah, and obviously, I feel like everyone who's watched Wenzel play have been really impressed with him, and I think, it's clear that he's the long-term Tim Parker replacement in the team. But I think it does kind of make sense not to offer him a first-team contract because, we have Parker and Yarrow and Nielsen all on pretty short-term injuries right now. Hebert is away with Canada, so we'll probably be getting him back soon.
Well, surprisingly enough, out of the three big CONCACAF nations, it seems like Canada is the one who's making it out of the group stages. So
Yep.
we might be without Hebert for longer than probably what we would have originally expected.
True, although not thanks to Hebert because I don't think I think he subbed in one game maybe.
Yeah,
But
that's it. Yeah, very minimal.
He's just
appearances
a bench
for him.
player for them.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. This past game, we had Nerwinski and Markanek step in at center back against Vancouver, and that was not a successful experiment.
It went about exactly as anyone would probably expect.
Yep.
Yeah, so after the Atlanta game, Tim Parker picked up a knock, groin related. He was on the bench in Vancouver, and Yarrow was out with a concussion protocol.
I think both
Play it
happened in
safe.
training, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then same thing with Joao Klaus. Picked up a knock on his knee. That's going to take, I think they had said, it's going to take time. I don't think
Did
they've
they
come
say
out.
6 weeks?
I thought that's what I had seen, but I didn't want to. So we're going to be without a striker for a while. The interesting thing about this whole Carnell thing, we've seen it for almost a year and a half now that Carnell and Sam butted heads often. So for the last 3 games, I don't think we saw Sam appear on the bench a single time. And today, after Carnell was sacked, our new head coach or interim head coach had him out there practicing. And Carnell, in one of his post-game comments, one of the first games at dinner on, was not on the bench, was like, yeah, there's like transfer talks with Sam, so he's not training or he's not on the bench. It's just weird stuff.
Yeah, he just didn't want to give a straight answer, I think. But yeah, I think Sam is I would expect him to start, the next few weeks going forward, especially with Klaus out. We saw Caden Glover get a couple minutes against Vancouver, but I'm not really sure if he's ready to start. And then obviously Nokvi has been starting, and he's actually, to give the guy credit, we've shat on him a lot
Heavily.
over the past, however
Year.
long we've had him.
About a year, yeah.
But he's looked pretty good, and that's not even including his late consolation goal that he scored against Vancouver.
Yeah.
He can kind of hold up the ball better than I thought he could. He's tall. He's relatively fast. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see what Hackworth has to say. He's got both of them in training now, so we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, in this Vancouver game, we go up 2-0 via a penalty and a heavy deflection goal. We're up 2-0, concede right before half, and then Vancouver just storm out of the gates. 3 goals in the second half. Puts us to bed. It's the second hat trick in the month of June, scored by St. Louis's opposition, Jori Mihailovic, and now Brian White for Vancouver. Both games, Jake Nerwinski, center back, which I'm not going to... I know we're harsh on Jake Nerwinski. The guy's not a center back. It is what it is. You have to do what you have to do. So,
Yep. We were also missing Berkey against Vancouver.
yeah, true.
I heard rumors it was turf related. He didn't
play.
on the turf.
He didn't play last year in the Vancouver away game.
Yeah. Ben Lunt, I don't hate him as a backup goalie. I think he's fine. But he didn't really. He had one really good save in the first half, but other than that, maybe Berkey would have pulled one of those back. Maybe. Probably not.
I don't know if
whatever.
Yeah, who
Probably
even
not.
knows if it'd be a difference maker at that. I mean, maybe it could have been.
His aura would have saved at least one of those.
Dude, just by being out there. Speaking of, on a positive note, Roman Berkey named to the MLS All-Star team, second consecutive year.
Just about the only positive note we have going for us.
Literally the only thing. And he wasn't a fan vote, he was a coach's choice.
Nice.
So him, Hugo Lloris, and Martin Pais are the goalkeeper. He's the goalie from Dallas.
Nice.
Who's having a phenomenal year. Shut out Klaus in that one game that we lost 2-0.
Well, shutting out Klaus, is that really an accomplishment?
Hey, if you go back and watch that Dallas game, like, man was putting on.
Okay, that was one of his good games of the season.
Stellar game for Martin Pais. So, yeah, that's really, I mean, I don't want to take the Carnell out news as such a bad thing because I think it is going to give a breath of fresh air to all of the players who I'm sure know that have been underperforming this season. And I think with a new coach, obviously it's somebody who's been with the team for a good amount of time. John Hackworth, he's been with St. Louis City since the inception, was interim City 2 coach for a little while in 2022, and then was assistant coach to St. Louis City, the first team this season. So he's been around. His career, he's done a lot of youth development. He worked under Jurgen Klinsmann and Bruce Arena for the U.S. men's national team at the U15 and U17 levels. He was head coach for Philadelphia Union a few years after their expansion season. I think it was 2012 to 2014. Made it to an Open Cup final with them. They like threw in his final season for Philadelphia. They made it as high as second, and then didn't make the playoffs, and Philly cut him. I mean, he's been around U.S. soccer for a long time, and as a U.S. men's national team, there's always the coaching products that come through our system, and to give this guy a shot, I think it's a good thing for St. Louis, and obviously he's just interim, so if it doesn't work out, there's no expectations with the guy.
Nothing could go wrong. But also, I have written down here that before he joined St. Louis City, he was the coach for Louisville City FC in the USL, and he won the USL championship in 2018, then went back to the final in 2019, and then following that year in 2020, he had the best Eastern Conference regular season record. And from Louisville and St. Louis City SC, he had 62% win percent and 66 win percent, which is
pretty solid.
Pretty great, yeah. To put that into perspective, Carnell had a 35% win percentage with St. Louis.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable to think about after finishing first in the Western Conference last season. And that was like a big thing that Lutz kind of pushed in this press conference they held today, was like, that was last season, and we have to be looking forward always. Yes, it was great. Yes, Carnell was a huge part of that magical season. But at the end of the day, we're a forward-thinking club. We want to win. We want to be successful, and it's not working right now. So,
and correct me if I'm wrong, didn't they say that the next coach that they're going to hire is going to be someone with like the same kind of play style? That
Yeah, okay. Lutz was like, we're not changing anything about our style of play. The way we play has been ingrained in a lot of our first team. I mean, in all of them. The leadership, the player leadership on the team knows how we want to play, and we're going to find a coach who fits that well. It was so interesting to see people's, like the MLS community's takes on Bradley Carnell's departures. Almost all of them were like, this is incredibly surprising, incredibly questionable move by St. Louis. And they don't think that we're going to be able to find a coach who can play this same Red Bull intensity. And it's like, do you think that there's no other coaches on the planet Earth? And do you not know that Lutz Pfannenstiel has a Rolodex fucking a Bible thick? Like, it was just so interesting. And it felt like a lot of the people just had no track record or no bearings on how St. Louis have performed since last year. They just have ignored this entire season.
Yeah, I mean, I do think someone put it in the context of Carnell in his first season set the bar incredibly high for himself, which, like, maybe that's true, but at the same time, I do like how Lutz phrased it, like, we got to keep moving forward. Last year is in the past. Like, we have 3 wins this year. It's just simply not good enough. And, I think as a fan, it's refreshing to see that we're not going to tolerate being mediocre for however long.
Yeah.
Half the season.
Yeah.
Even. That's good. I like that, honestly.
I do too. And I know Carnell, like, we had been operating under the guise that Carnell has like a 5-year kind of plan for what he wants to do with the club. And I think when you lose the locker room and you lose some of the young guys on the team, it feels so weird with some of the transfers that we've seen recently, like having to send AZ out, instantly sending Dewar back to Denmark, and then the whole, the Adeniran shit is like a saga at this point. It's been nonstop, and I want a coach who's going to put the best motherfuckers out there who are going to ball, and that's it.
I mean, yeah, it's crazy how far that'll get you.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, for me, the example that comes to my mind is Ancelotti with Real Madrid, who, Real Madrid's been playing a 4-3-3, and then they lose Benzema, no striker. They get Jude Bellingham. Okay, switch formation, 4-4-2 diamond. It's just like put the best players out there, tweak the tactics, let them play to their strengths, and they win the league and Champions League.
Yeah.
So, I think there is a certain wisdom to just put your best players out there, put your most technical players. Don't play like if you only have one right back, but he's shit, don't play him. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's exciting. I'm honestly excited. I think Hackworth is going to do a job. And like we said, there's no expectation with him. Either we continue to be shit and the season's a wash and we find a new coach in the summer and we look to next year, or Hackworth gets the job done as interim coach, gets us back to playoff position, and we're feeling good about ourselves.
Yeah. I don't think we're only like 8 points behind playoff and we still have half the season. So
yeah,
very doable. I don't think it's, asking too much. I guess, I don't know. I think we're going to try to find an outside coach because I don't know if Hackworth wants to be a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel pretty optimistic about him. He knows, like you said, he's been in the organization for so long. He knows how the team plays, how the organization wants us to play. He's familiar with the players. He's probably pretty familiar with the City 2 players too.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if he can incorporate some more of them in.
And it's especially helpful that this upcoming week we play on Wednesday. We play against criminally dog shit San Jose team.
One of the only teams that's worse than us.
who are on track to concede damn near 100 goals this season.
That's crazy.
Like, they are terrible. So hopefully we get a nice little new manager bounce and we go out there and just cook San Jose, give the people of St. Louis what they want. I'm excited for Wednesday for sure. I know that you have put together a decent list of who we may see. Obviously, like we've said, Hackworth is interim, so his standing is not final. And Lutz, in his press conference today, said we're shopping both in the MLS sphere as well as the global manager pool. What'd you pool?
Well, obviously my Rolodex of managers is not as thick as Lutz's, I presume. So I went with a couple familiar names, and then one who I saw someone on a Reddit post suggest, who, I don't know if it's really a good option, but obviously, first of all, Jurgen Klinsmann. That's who I have as my first option. He was recently released from South Korea. He didn't do the best job with them. In the 2023 Asian Cup, he had 1 win and 2 draws in the group stages. against Bahrain, Jordan, and Malaysia, who South Korea is definitely ranked higher than them.
Yeah.
His tactics and player selections were highly criticized. They made it out of the groups but lost to Jordan 2-0 in the semifinals. The public and the team kind of lost faith in him and were really scrutinizing him, and eventually he was fired. So he was supposed to be hired until the end of the 2026 World Cup. I think he was hired in 21 or 22. Yeah, but he didn't even make it 2 years. So
I thought I remember seeing some stuff about him in South Korea and how he wasn't even living in South Korea. I don't think he really wanted that job.
yeah, that seemed kind of like a placeholder, like take up some time.
Yeah.
Keep him kind of fresh, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously most people will know him and remember him from when he coached the U.S. national team. 2014 World Cup, when we made it to the round of 16 against Belgium. He was our coach then. And he was, unfortunately, our coach when we didn't qualify for the 2018 World Cup. He lost the first 2 games in the World Cup qualifying. So,
Some bad memories for U.S. men's national team fans.
he's not like, Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah. No.
But
Who's available?
he is available. And, I saw lots of people on Twitter suggesting him. But
Yeah.
I looked up how much he was getting paid, and it was about $19 million per year at Liverpool. And our entire roster gets paid $12 million.
Yeah.
So
not quite in the budget.
not sure that that's going to happen. I tried looking up how much MLS coaches get paid.
Mm-hmm.
And the most information I could find is like the highest paid manager in like 2020 or 2021 was Bob Bradley, and it was like $2.5 million.
Oh, wow.
So compared to $19 million at Liverpool, I mean, you never know.
That's pretty good. I remember seeing, I forget if it was CONCACAF or CONMEBOL, like all of the Americas coaches for the national teams, and they were all around that rate as well. So
Like $2.5 million.
yeah. So I wonder if the best MLS coaches make somewhere around what the national team coaches do.
Yeah.
And you have to do probably a lot less work to be a national.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
You're less hands-on for sure.
Yeah, you get less. You're working less time out of the year.
Yeah.
Another option, someone who's well versed in the MLS, who's out of a job, is Bruce Arena. This one, obviously, he's very successful. 4 times MLS Coach of the Year, 4 times Supporter Shield winner, 5 times MLS Cup winner. But if you remember, he resigned from New England Revolutions under some suspicious, but it wasn't really clear why he resigned.
Yeah, no, it never truly came out what he did, but
there were rumors he made some insensitive or inappropriate comments of some kind.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much all that has been said.
Okay,
So
well, hey, it's better for St. Louis that's been kept under wraps, I'm sure. Because honestly, when he was coaching New England Revolution, the Revolution were like good, and they're horrible. They are terrible without him.
Well, he's like a renowned MLS coach. Like everyone who's worked with him is like, yes, he gets the best out of any team that he coaches. And I mean, it's kind of like, do you want to take the stain to your reputation and hire him to be good? Or like, I don't know. It's kind of a balancing act.
Yeah.
And as the only female-owned team,
That's true.
I don't know. Maybe unlikely that we
I
get
hadn't
him.
even considered that aspect. But God, that's a fucking balancing act. That's a PR nightmare waiting to happen. The PR team's going to be working overtime to justify it, but I think the city of St. Louis would come around and say this guy is
If we start winning,
a well-respected coach who's like, he's won the MLS Cup before, yeah?
Yeah, 4, 5 times I think. But also another thing about him is he's 72 years old, I think.
Oh,
so people kind of wonder how many more coaching jobs he's going to take.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, yeah, I mean, if I was 72, I certainly wouldn't be doing something as stressful as managing a
How old
professional
is Klinsman? He's got to be up there too,
Good
right?
question. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
If he's that aged, I wonder if St. Louis would look past him just because
He's only 59.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's a lot younger than I thought he was going to be. Yeah, I wonder if we just look past Bruce just because of his age, and maybe he wouldn't be around as long as we would want him to be, to get the team set. But I'm excited about the prospect of Bruce Arena as the MLS pool of coaches for sure.
I mean, we'd probably have to pay him, on the higher end of the spectrum just because of his resume. But, yeah, I mean, I think it would probably be worth it.
And you know what? I think we've got the money. I think the money's there. I don't want to speak for the club or anything like that. I think there's some money out there to be found.
I think there is too. We've made a lot of signings this summer. Not all of them are here yet. But I think that St. Louis City is very conscious about how they spend their money, and they don't want to overpay for anything.
Well, that's what we saw with Toy Shirt.
Yep.
We were like, do we want to sign him now at the start of the season and pay Hanover all this extra money to buy him out of his contract, or do we just wait till the summer and sign with a free agent? Same thing with Hartel. We're getting both these big player. I mean, relatively big players, but out of their contract. Obviously, we bought out JGR's contract for close to $1 million, but yeah, we got some money saved up.
Mm-hmm. He's pretty promising, and like in the grand scheme of things, his contract wasn't really that much.
Yeah.
So, last guy I did some research on. Some of you guys who follow Josh Sargent pretty closely would be familiar with David Wagner. He was the Norwich City head coach this past year. He started off working as the Borussia Dortmund 2 manager. Same time Jurgen Klopp was there, by the way. They're actually lifelong friends, and he was the best man at Jurgen Klopp's wedding.
Fun fact.
But this past year at Norwich, he got them to 6th place, and then unfortunately lost 4-0 on aggregate against Leeds in the playoff semifinal. And he got sacked the next day after losing that. He had a 41% win percentage, so slightly better than Carnell. But after he got sacked, I was reading some reactions to his being let go. And some of the Norwich fans said that his performances were borderline pathetic, couldn't tap into the potential of the squad, a cautious manager in terms of attacking, and was not very good at team selections, formation, or substitutions. So, yeah, there's obviously going to be problems with any coach who is available.
Yeah.
Right? Because if they were perfect, then they would have a job still.
It's true.
I think it's really, honestly, just also impossible for us to predict.
Yeah.
Just based on the sheer number of coaches there are.
And just based on, like, the Lutz pull in general. Like, I had never even heard of FC Pauli. I had, like, obviously I knew Hanover because they used to be in Bundesliga back in the day. Or, like, any of these, like, Icelandic, like, Slavic players that were signing. Like, how are you pulling from these leagues? Like, it could truly be from anywhere.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it could be some unproven, college assistant coach for all we know.
Yeah.
It could be, I mean, we just have no way of knowing. But I feel like Lutz is someone that we can trust with the future of our team.
I was going to bring up and I was going to ask you, we kind of touched on it earlier with how we felt like the winter transfer went before the season, how we felt like there weren't enough replacements signed. But it sounds like you still have a good chunk of faith in Lutz.
I do, yeah. I think that Toykert this Australian center back, Hartel. I feel like those are all going to be extremely welcome additions. Totland, obviously, great signing. Chris Durkin, great signing. We gave up Stroud and Bartlett, who I feel like, honestly, like, they were kind of fan favorites to a certain degree. I don't know.
I would agree with that.
Okay. But, Lutz had the wisdom to pass them on and kind of, I would say, upgrade our players that we got in exchange for them. So, yeah, I mean, I like the direction of our signings. I guess the last thing to see is who we hire as our coach.
Yeah, that'll be the real telltale sign, because at this point, the results cannot be blamed on Carnell anymore. The results, and they cannot be blamed on our interim coach either. We're looking at Lutz at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I think we kind of have a little grace period with Hackworth. And then, depending on how long it takes to find a coach, maybe people will start, getting upset at Lutz if we're not doing well and we can't seem to find a manager.
Yeah.
But I think right now we just kind of wait and see.
Yeah.
July 18th, we get our new players. Maybe we'll have a new coach by then.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. The timing of it is just so odd, mostly because I was expecting Carnell to have the reins for these new players and whip them into shape and put them out there in a way that was going to be successful for St. Louis. And now these new incoming transfers are going to come into an interim coach who they might not, they probably won't play under for that long. I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful for the talent that we're signing, but it's just odd. They're showing up into a kind of rough situation, and I hope that it doesn't affect their mentality. I did see today in Roman Berkey's All-Star announcement that Toy Shirt was there in the training room. Mm-hmm. So he's here and he's training. So it'll be interesting, man. I hope that they can hit the ground running and we can get them up to speed quick because we need it.
Yeah. And I hope that Sam is able to just slot right back into the team.
Yeah.
Because I think that will – I think he's really good. It was kind of a head-scratcher that Carnell wasn't playing him. I mean, it had to have been personal issues because you can see the raw talent that Sam has whenever he's playing. So,
yeah.
Keyword is raw, though.
Yeah. He needs a little bit of help, but, yeah, man, we need to go out and just demolish San Jose.
Yeah, this is like a must-win game.
Yeah.
We need to pull out all the stops. Like, we cannot rotate this game.
Nope.
Who do we play? Is it Sunday or Saturday?
Saturday. Let me look.
Because, that's the game to rotate. We gotta take the 3 points against the worst team in the league. Like, we have to.
We play Colorado away.
And they're kind of good this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just rotate right now.
We need all of these results, man. We've got leading up until Leagues Cup, it's all Western Conference. Colorado, Vancouver, Seattle, Sporting.
We play Vancouver again.
Yep. The scheduling in this league is just so shit. We don't even get to play Salt Lake again, and they're just sitting top of the league. Oh, I guess LAFC is now, but we already played them twice. We get no other opportunity to take points from the top. It's so stupid. I don't get it. Yeah, and then we're done playing Colorado as well. But hey, we get to play San Jose again. That's a W.
Yes.
Should be free points.
Yeah. Oh, God, you better knock on wood.
Yeah, good call. It's been a hectic day here in St. Louis. I will tell you, man, my jaw dropped when I was at work. I literally said, "Oh my God," and my coworkers were like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "We just fired our coach."
Yeah, I definitely thought that it was not going to happen until we, ended the season and miss out on a playoff spot. But I'm glad that, Lutz and the people running the club have higher expectations than that.
Yeah, it's a good sign.
Yeah.
Yep. Here in St. Louis, we do not tolerate mediocrity. Okay, if you want us to show up, we need some good fucking sports to watch. And that's the truth. Do you have anything else you want to talk about today?
U.S. plays Uruguay.
Dear God.
Another coach who might be available, Greg Berhalter.
Shout out to the Let's Pfannenstiel fan account on Twitter for just playing with that idea today. I told him I would commit a great crime if he made jokes like that again, because Greg Berhalter better not show his face in St. Louis.
Yeah, I mean, people who were wanting Carnell out would, they would not like Greg Berhalter either.
No, definitely not. He got booed whenever the U.S. men's national team was here to play Uzbekistan in that friendly.
Nice.
Deserved. W St. Louis fans.
Yep, but that's pretty much all I had for today.
That's all I got too. Thank you guys for tapping in. We'll have more information on our coaching situation as it comes along. But for now, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think about Carnell's firing. And we will see you after our game against San Jose. Peace out.
Thank you for watching this episode of Soul of the City, brought to you by First Touch Media and Anchor FM. Make sure to check us out on YouTube at First Touch Media, and all of our socials are at First Touch 314. Thank you for watching.